Next up, we're going to be checking out Casual Geographic's Why School Never Taught You About the Fossa. I don't know what this animal is, but considering the last few videos Casual Geographic have done have been something of the, oh god, why variety, I have a feeling I know where this is going. So let's find out and see just how fast YouTube will decide that loosening their swearing restrictions was a bad idea. Yeah, we're doing it today. Let's get into it.
Investing, taxes, and a ferocious hidden penis. 3 things school ain't teach you enough about. And unfortunately, this isn't a finance channel. No. Of course.
Okay, can we all just acknowledge this is actually adorable? I don't know why. Like they put a backpack, a little backpack, and like a little... That's a My Little Pony lunchbox. That is adorable.
Of course, we're talking about the final boss of Focas, the maligned weasel, one could say measle of Madagascar, the Foosa. And with that, there's 2 types of people, those that have never perceived this rough draft cat, and those that never would have if Jada's will would have rocked Chris and left him with Fresh Prince before they did 2 movies.
Oh, so they were only known by people because of the Madagascar movies. Which is why I still don't know about them, because I never watched these. That would do it.
And that might be because putting the Foosa on a lesson plan would mean explaining to a room full of children that concealed poop shoot is their actual name.
I must have misheard that. The what?
Plan would mean explaining to a room full of children that concealed poop shoot is their actual name. Cryptoprocta ferox is their scientific tag, where ferox means fierce or ferocious, and cryptoprocta refers to the Foosa's anus being hidden from the public.
So they're ferocious anuses. So no, they're hidden assholes. I'm assuming one of these guys bit whoever named them at this point.
Fossas use scent glands to mark their territory, and these glands are found in the anal pouch, and this anal pouch is like a modesty garment for their brown balloon knot. That modesty got rewarded with the scientists immortalizing the big bad of Madagascar by its forbidden Fruit Loop. At least they're not alone. They could always start a support group with a platypus.
I don't know that much about the platypus, so this is a very weird thing to say, but I thought those were something else, but no, apparently that was just a pouch, not a sack. Interesting definition difference.
The name almost becomes purposefully provocative when you realize there is one whole, no pun intended, genus named Foosa. This Foosa genus has 1 living member, and it's not the Foosa, cause screw them, that's why. It's actually the, to be fair, closely related Malagasy civet. But the fact is, a dope-ass scientific name like Foosa fossana went to the civet, but the actual Foosa got stuck with missing butt muzzle. That's not the last or...
Oh, wow. I am going to be acting like a 5-year-old so many times in this video. Oh, yeah. Who needs maturity? I definitely don't. That's probably not something people expected either, so that's good. Oh, God.
Worst way they get screwed by their own anatomy. I think you know what's coming, but we'll get to that. Maybe the name refers to how much of a pain in the prostate figuring out what this beta-tested big cat actually was. The Foosa was first described in 1833, where they were put in the vivarid family. Not a vivid ferret, although I wouldn't blame you, but...
That's how big they are? Shit, man. I was not expecting that.
But a family that has the pee smells like buttered popcorn binturong, along with civets and genets.
I'm sorry, there's an animal whose pee smells like... I had to have misheard
that. But a family that has the pee smells like buttered popcorn bin...
Specifically, buttered popcorn. I'm assuming they're on Madagascar. That's the only thing I don't... But... How? What in nature incentivizes the survival of butter popcorn piss? The fact that it exists probably implies that sometimes nature is just weird. Okay, let's go with that one. I was not aware of any of this.
Along with civets and genets. In 1939, they were moved to a subfamily in Felidae because folks were really sold on it being a cat. In 1945, a change of heart put incognito back with vivarids. Almost 50 years later in 93, they got a little warmer with a DNA study putting the Foosa at the mongoose lunch table. But it only took 2 years for someone to try to argue them back with the cats and family Felidae. An animal that hides its seat lips in a family of felines that flash it like ID should have told him the Foosa was the imposter. And eventually something did, and they were put in the Eupluridae family in 2003. It took almost 200 years to ascertain.
All I'm thinking is I really hope they check the footage before they use that water bottle, because that is yeah.
What this unhinged roid weasel was. That still begs the question, what exactly is a Foosa? That question takes way too much time to answer, and it's probably why most schools don't even bother.
Oh.
So obviously I'm gonna try to do it in a minute with no teaching degree. So, with
a minute. I'll be honest, with the teaching degree, this would be much longer and probably less informative, so I'll take it.
Order Carnivora, there's basically two teams, Team Cat and Team Dog. Team Dog, Caniformia, is basically all the animals you think are dogs.
Can we just acknowledge these are all very pretty and cute, and I want to cuddle them all? And I know most of them would bite me and try to eat me. And I am including the house cat on that one. From experience, specifically. They're adorable. But they like meat fresh, and hands are perfectly tasty. Thankfully, they stopped doing that one, but I think they might just be letting me get a false sense of security at this point. Also, ooh, Croc. Oh, sorry, Cromac. You know, I'm going to try and actually say your name correctly for once. Croc Maniac. One, I know I butchered it still. Sorry about that. Taxonomy in a nutshell. It's always one of three. First things knows about. Founder being fanboy, after celeb scientist, founder being a nerd. Honestly, I think the last one is kind of tied in with the celeb. There's a lot of times it's a nerd celebrity, so it probably does happen more often than you think. Wait, Necro, there's one that smells like a brain aneurysm. There's one that has pee that smells like weed, and they got raided because of it. I'm going to pretend my chat is screwing with me. I say pretend because I'm almost certain if I look up, I will find it, because that's just so weird. It's still not as weird as buttered popcorn smelling piss. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get over that one today.
Dogs, and you got your pinnipeds, the raccoon family, your bears, and the weasel family, aka.
Wait. I guess, yeah, they're closer to water dogs in that sense. So the canine.
The animals that think they're bears. Team Cat, Feliform are, well, cats, hyenas, and the mongooses.
Wait, really? Feliform include hyenas? Honestly, I thought they were closer to a dog. Huh, that's news to me.
Foosa is on the Feliform side, and their family Eupluridae is full of animals you've never seen before. If you can name this, you're either lying or you're better than me. The Foosa family shares a common ancestor with the mongoose mafia Herpestidae, and both of them are distant cousins with the hyena family. So even though I'm pretty sure I called it a weasel twice, they're actually on opposite sides. In fact, when you think about it, mongooses are the weasels of cats, and weasels are the mongooses of dogs.
Wait, weasels are on the dog side? I was unaware of that. I mean, I didn't know they were on the cat side either, so I wasn't aware of any of this, but I thought they were their own branch of what the fuckery.
Eupluridae has other Madagascar predators you've never heard of because King Julian didn't scream their name loud enough. They include 6 types of Vonceras, like this ring-tailed right here, and also mongoose members like the brown-tailed and the broad-striped. But like I said, the closest living relative of the Foosa is the Malagasy civet that snatched its chain and took his name, but best believe the Foosa gets the last word. So what is the Foosa? The Foosa is an overgrown steroid mongoose civet understudy built like a time-strung cougar with the same cursed anatomy of a hyena. Nothing about.
You know, that sounded really awesome until hyena anatomy, because I know just enough about hyenas to realize, oh, that's probably not going to go well.
Animal casserole is straightforward. Even their name had to be an argument. Anyone who had a childhood like mine would pronounce it the same way I've been doing. But if you follow that Attenborough rule, Sir David would have had you saying Fossa. What if I told you both are technically wrong? Because their name comes from the original Malagasy word, and apparently the correct way to say it is foosh. Foosh. Like foosh with a performance anxiety at the end.
So it's a fuchsia. Fuchsia? Fuchsia. I want to say fuchsia now, and I know that's wrong as well. Okay. How do you come up with...
Experts
Probably
feel
a
free to
nerd.
correct me, but apparently that is the closest to the OG Malagasy pronunciation. It's just that the global game of telephone has Americans saying Foosa, while England pronounces it as Fossa. So if your point of reference is
I mean, if the Americans say it that way, it has to be right. And if you disagree, I mean, we're just going to ignore you anyways. Who cares?
the movie, it's the Fossa! If it's Sir Attenborough or the Wild Thornberries, it's Fossa.
God.
And if you want to feel better than everyone, it's Foosh. Now, another reason the Foosh is blacklisted from the curriculum is not just because depending on where you are, they can be thousands of miles and oceans away, but the entirety of your Pluridae is endangered. And if they're not, they're endangered of being endangered. What does that mean to you? Well, it could mean a lot. You never know what cures nature could be hiding, or
Also, I have never seen trees like this before. Like huge trunk, tiny leaves. I wonder if they get most of their water from the ground instead through the roots and just store it above ground. I have no idea.
where. Scientists once studied the antibodies in llamas in hopes of curing the big cough of 2020, and many believe this moss carpet's fur may contain the key against malaria. But beyond that, losing life over there.
Oh shit, that actually is huge. Malaria is a massive killer. If you get something out of the Fossa, the Foosh, that could do that, that is a huge advantage. Right up there with figuring out how to grow rubber trees outside of, well, endangered areas.
Could hit your pockets here. Deforestation is the biggest reason for the flatlining of Foosa and friends, and according to this article, the same arborcidal activities can cause extreme weather that can lead to the jacking up of food prices. So yeah, something happening a world away can come back to bite you in the wallet, and you might not even realize it until you're forced to finance a carton of eggs. That's honestly why I feel pretty good about work.
Hell, that just happened earlier this year because there was a outbreak of bird flu that required so many birds to be destroyed that eggs went from, oh god, this is a little too expensive, to no, we'll pass. There's not supposed to be that many numbers in the price, man. I was seeing people who I knew were engaged in other activities with cartons of eggs selling an egg a pop. And I'm just sitting here going, oh god, egg hustling isn't a joke. I don't know how to think about this. It's better now because they got the outbreak under control, but it's, yeah, if it could spread that easy, it's going to happen again.
With Ground News, because being informed has never been more important. Ground News is an app developed by a former NASA engineer and designed to abolish bias. Ground News lets you learn more about the things you're interested in or affected by, and it paints the picture as wide as possible, instead of hiding it like a Foosa Fruit Loop. Ground News shows you exactly how far left or right the source of a story leans with an overall factuality check.
Also, he put that almost halfway into the video. Wow. We'll just jump a little bit ahead. Leave that in case anyone wants to use it.
You use my link on screen, in the description. It don't matter. I'm flexible. Make sure you go to groundnews.com/casualgeo to subscribe. But anyway, Foosa are a lot. Actually, speaking on their name, we low-key don't even spell it right. The original Malagasy name is Foosa with one S. Apparently colonizers saw that and were having none of it. Also, we don't know exactly where the name comes from, but the theory is in languages like Tagalog, Pusha means cat, and in Iban, Fossa might also refer to the Malayan weasel.
So it literally was initially named a cat weasel, as opposed to the scientific name of hidden asshole. Describing apparently their anatomy and probably personality, for all I know.
I can only guess that something happened where they were like, well, this thing looks like a cat, but could also...
But also, like, if you look at these claws right here and tell me, those don't look retractable or extendable, that looks just like they're there. They don't look like a cat's paws.
Cat, but could also pass for a weasel, and we call both Pusha. So the logical name is Fusha, because being a Foosa means being defined by how close you are to being something else, which is actually their origin. Foosa are cats nature tried redrawing strictly from memory, and I'm not even kidding. You ever wonder how they got there in the first place? The aggressive absentness is believed to have spawned from a common ancestor about 20 million years ago. Except Madagascar physically divorced from the subcontinent of India 80 million some years ago.
Wait,
how did the Foosh get loose on Madagascar?
India? I thought I broke off from Africa. I mean, it's a very geologically active area, so why not?
There's a couple theories, and the predominant one is that their ancestors rafted on floating vegetation, about 250 miles across the Mozambique Channel.
It's honestly not even that odd, considering that's kind of how a lot of island change got shit. Either they came with people on boats, they came with people on canoes, which is a lot of animals on Hawaii, or they were carried or were the birds carrying those animals to islands. Or there was a land bridge during the last ice age, which is how a lot of things got to North America.
A trip that would have lasted a little over a month. Really, the Foosa just proves how much nature cooked with cats.
Dude.
You basically had an oversized meerkat spawn on an island with no big cat apex predator.
Oh.
So they messed around and became one. The end game of evolving the perfect merc machine with milk is apparently cat. Foosas aren't that, but these Foosas apex is This was a reasonable crash out. They might look cute to us, but this is the reaper to the Madagascar population. Nature didn't stop at retractable claws. They have ankles that can almost turn backwards, meaning they can move through the trees like a homicidal squirrel. It's not enough that they'll run you down on land or tree, but they'll often tag team prey with one Foos chasing prey through the trees, weaponizing predatory.
Oh. Now that's actually interesting because the big difference with cats is cats, while they are social animals, they are solitary hunters. Taking all of that, I'm going to fuck you up, and adding, I'm also willing to work with others to make sure you get fucked up, that is, that's actually kind of scary.
Parkour to force him on the ground, where Foosa number 2 hawks them down. The entire jungle is food to a Foosa, even their closest cousin. There was an actual problem where researchers were trying to study the Malagasy civet, but Foosas kept following trap lines and eating the captured animals. Foosa move on their own timing, literally. They're cathemeral, meaning they're active.
Oh, actually, that's kind of impressive that they're smart enough to understand the trapping mechanism, recognize it, and find food. Annoying, but also kind of impressive. Huh.
Whenever they feel like. There's no combination of numbers on a clock when a Foosa can't strike, which is why their main personality trait is inflicting primal panic in lemurs. Not only is half their diet lemur meat, they'll straight up rip sleeping lemurs out of napping spots. They tell stories about the Foosa. This is their Freddy Cougar. That is one bad motherfucker. She-Faka. That is a She-Faka, and they're named after the sound they make in the face of a Foosa. Oh shit, fuck. Because Foosa,
I'm not even sure he's joking about that because it kind of makes sense.
Will eviscerate them, with scientists finding Fakas life deprived with their intestines ripped out. Foosa will flatline anything lemur, even the ones weighing nearly as much as they do. You think they give a Faka? No, they take them, straight off the senses. She-Faka, he-Faka, you-Faka, in a Foosa's eyes, anyone can get it. Millions of years being marooned on an island does things to you, and one of the consequences is Foosas do something no other mammal does.
What?
The following is strictly for educational purposes. That being said, it might just be time to put the kids to bed.
What are we about to get into on this one? Like, when you say things no other mammal does, there's freaking platypuses which lay eggs, man. How much weirder... I'm not gonna like this, am I? Oh, no. Because even some of the things hamsters, also mammals, do are kind of disturbing when you really learn about them, so it's not that. Oh god, what are they going to do?
Foosas can't change from girls to guys, but boy do they do everything to convince you otherwise. Foosa go through transient masculinization, where they develop the same pseudo situation hyenas got. Except with them, it involves a young female Foosa flitteris growing large enough and spiky enough to make them anatomically identical to a male. They'll even release the same musky orange product males do. The difference is, where hyenas have to pass kids like a kidney stone, eventually the Foosas.
Oh god, that's what oh. I mean, the Foosa one, weird. The hyena's childbirth is a kidney stone? I mean, people got screwed over in that process because literally our hips are designed for a different position of standing rather than standing itself. So the changes are why childbirth for many, well, honestly, thousands of years was so dangerous. Kidney stone is so much worse, though. God damn, the hyena they got screwed over bad. Also, Croc, you mentioned plus or minus 200 million years ago, India was connected to Africa. Oh, well, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that. Then it was its own continent. Then Madagascar got free. Then India crash landed to Asia and made Himalayas. Oh, wasn't sure of that timeline. Thanks, man. Valerian, glad you didn't have that shit. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Now I'm terrified to see what the hyena video is.
Baby making business end goes back to normal, but for a time, you really can't tell male from female, and that might just be the point. There's some things about this freak-off ferret that makes being young, female, and Foosa the worst combination. Female Fusas are highly territorial, because they'll make love in the same tree year after year, call it the tree of life. And Fusa foreplay involves the female sitting high up in the tree, with starving males down below competing for her time. Now the thing with Fusas is, the female will spend nearly a week in the tree, where she'll be visited by several males. 4, 5, sometimes 6, 7. Some yellow lights don't get ran through that much, and there is no honor system. Males will often climb up the tree to shoot their shot, while the female's already physically occupied by another. So yeah, it's a Fusa freak-off free-for-all. Imagine the ones from the movie, but instead of feeding for food, they desperately fall over each other trying to make a baby mother. Which,
you know, the Diddy one seems accurate. If they were named now, it would be the Combs animal. Maybe a few small P. Diddies are all over the place. For anyone wondering the joke about Combs, I'm not going to explain it. Find out yourself. And then never look at the images. Because God knows there will be images.
Which might explain the gender bending. Young females can get put on a shirt by an older vindictive female, and put in a hearse by a horde of hormonal males. This can really be a problem, since apparently males can't tell when a female is ovulating, so they just keep trying. Which could kill an inexperienced female, cause, well, they're not the only ones with some nonsense in the nethers. Fusas hold a world record, and that's having the largest penis relative to body size of any mammal. They somehow beat out the tapir, and I've seen one use his as a tripod and a back scratcher. But I guess a 30-inch animal dragging a nearly 8-inch nectar dispenser is notable. Educational purposes.
That is a very large disparity. In human terms, that would be a couple feet equivalent, like 2 feet long. God damn.
I swear, because the sheer coital competition is why Fusas are hung like an adolescent donkey. They also have a baculum, which is a bone to allow the male to stay in the game as long as possible, even when the coach, other players, and even ref want him out. And not only that, they also have backward-facing spines on their procreation pickle, which makes retraction not impossible, but incredibly uncomfortable to watch. Can't even imagine how that feels. Or maybe I just don't want to. We probably wouldn't even know all this if they weren't so damn loud about it. It's also...
Oh, this is recorded from South Florida Iceman on YouTube. The Florida makes perfect sense all of a sudden.
Hard to miss that females can put in 14-hour shifts in one day with multiple males, or sometimes just one. Not only will a Fusa couple go at...
I mean, that's not as disturbing as lions, when you realize the answer is yes, and you will visibly look dead by the halfway point. I'm not going to go into that because of YouTube, but damn, man.
For hours, they can spend an extra one stuck in the same physical tie dogs get caught in. Of course, this means nothing to the competition, with researchers witnessing females having to chase off males while still attached CatDog style to their last body. And sometimes multiple rivals climb the tree to fight the male while he's still baculum deep. It's straight player hating, and why Fusas do it at the very tops of the trees, like a tryst on trapeze. Some males will even play defense by guarding the female hours after they mate, especially if that male got interrupted. The couple can even injure themselves, and there's a non-zero chance the male falls and breaks his baculum. It's an entirely unpleasant process from start to
This just became one of the most unpleasant videos I have ever watched, because I never thought of, okay, what would it be like if you broke your dick? And suddenly that is a thought I had, and I would really prefer going back to never thinking about that. Thank you very much. What the fuck, man? Oh, actually, no, we know exactly what the fuck. I just don't get... No, don't ask why. I might get answers in the chat.
Finish, and if I have to know that, you do too. And if you unclick for that, I wouldn't blame you. But really makes you...
I am very tempted, because that is a level of I did not want to know that.
Look at these guys different, and when your own conception is that demon-esque, unfortunately it's no surprise when they get treated like one. In Malagasy culture, there's something called fadi. My understanding is fadi are spiritual beliefs Malagasy people live by, basically cultural taboos ingrained into their society. For example, eating with a hat on, considered fadi, and the punishment is baldness. Eating while standing...
I mean, the balding part's the bad one.
Is fadi, and the penalty could be famine. There's hundreds of examples of fadi, and one of them actually protects the Foosh. It's said that Fossas will feed on the long-expired bodies of ancestors buried in the forest, making it funny to eat Fossa meat. But Fossa have some other freaky folklore about them, like one that says they crawl out the forest at night to steal babies straight out the cradle.
I mean, if they eat everything, they probably have. I mean, sure, why limit it to just little critters if you could take a child? That's fucked up, man. But I mean, that's predation for you. Kind of surprised that they're protected, though. Although I guess eating something that has eaten your dead relatives means you're kind of doing reverse, not even reverse, like secondhand cannibalism. So yeah, I kind of get it.
Another legend tells of Fossas licking a sleeping person to put them in an unbreakable trance so they can disembowel them. Another says the Fossa smell is enough to drop chickens dead on the spot, literally instant death through mustiness. So yeah, lemurs aren't the only things with thumbs that don't think much of the afterpick of an anti-drug PSA for predators. But of course, the Madagascar murder mongoose is almost zero threat to humans. To a lemur, that's...
I mean, you did just mention the thing about babies, and maybe it's a story. Maybe a few just happen to be small enough. I don't know, and I don't want to find out in person.
A death threat, but to humans they're just overly ambitious raccoons. Compare that to the absolute number done on the cryptic chocolate Cheerio by man, and it's no matchup. If they're not actively getting screwed over by property development, Fossa get
what you're seeing here, if I'm correct,
by man, and it's no matchup. If they're not
burn clearing, where you set part of a forest on fire so that you don't have to clear the trees out, they're just gone already, and you can plant crops. It's very prevalent, I know, in South America, and has destroyed a lot of the Amazon. I mean, yeah, their country. On the other hand, legitimately losing the Amazon would affect the entire planet's air supply. Like, there's enough, but it would also destroy so many other things that it's kind of like, hey, you know how there's a web of life? What happens when you cut off most of the things holding the web together? It doesn't go well.
Actively getting screwed over by property development, Fossa get flatlined in retaliation for preying on poultry. Not to mention many will defy fatty, as in up to half of all Malagasy communities, Fossa flesh is regularly eaten. Honestly, Madagascar as a whole is in danger, with over 90% of her forests already gone. And keep in mind, many like the Fossa are only found on the Big Red Island, so once they're gone from there, they're gone for good. Better appreciate it while it's still here, and who knows, maybe I'll take a trip down there. No promises though, I've already made too many. But as for
he just needs to start doing these things live, man.
Later. For now, drink water, hug your mother, spread the Fossa word. If school won't, we will. Touch grass, call your father, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Dude. So honestly, this wasn't nearly as what the fuck inducing as some of the previous ones. That orangutan, man. That orangutan video. But at the same time, it's like, these are really fucked up animals who did some really weird shit, but also they're kind of cool. It's like, I get it. I would hate to be small enough for them to be my predator, but I would hate for that for any animal. I'm very curious what's going to happen with this. And the answer is probably, maybe if we're lucky, we'll see him take a trip to somewhere in Madagascar and get to see just in person all the crazy stuff he can run into. That would be awesome. From what I've heard, he might actually have already done that from his members only stuff, which pretty damn cool, man. Either way, if you guys haven't already, there's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. I'll see you in the next one. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to try and block a few of the things we just saw out of my memory and never think about them again. Like falling and breaking your dick. Oh, God, why'd I say that out loud? Now it's in my head again. Yeah. Later.